How often do you think about the Oscars? I mean, really think about the Oscars. I know we all think about them for like 3 months at the start of the year when the race is actually on, but like, how often do you actually think about how many movies have won an Oscar? It's over 1,000 at this point, over 1,050 actually. They range in genre from sci-fi to horror to drama to comedy to drama to romance to drama to Jesus Christ. There's so many dramas, you guys. You don't even know. And they range in quality from genuine classics we still talk about to this day to hidden gems we've forgotten unfairly to genuinely some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But all those movies are kind of a snapshot of where culture was at the time they won, because they won Oscars, because they were considered big and important enough to be Oscar nominees, because the Academy saw something in them, even if we don't totally get it. So the premise of this podcast is this. Every episode, I will randomly determine an Oscar-winning movie, get two volunteer guests to talk about it with me, and we'll chat. The discussions will be a little free-form, a little loose. The only requirement for guests is that one of the three of us, either myself or one of my guests, has to be watching the movie for the first time. At least one. Sometimes it's all three of us. That's fairly common, actually, because a lot of these movies are more obscure than you might think. I would like to note that a movie's inclusion is not a recommendation of its quality. I saw the TV Glow, my favorite movie of 2024, didn't get nominated for any Oscars. Whereas Amelia Perez, one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life, won two. It's also not an endorsement of anyone who won an Oscar or was in an Oscar-winning movie. People who are cruel or thoughtless or racist or other forms of bigoted or absolute monsters have won Oscars. We sure all have a laundry list of those kind of people who have won awards, and I don't like that. I don't think anyone else does, but I don't think it's helping any of us to pretend that it's not the case, to pretend that these people didn't win their awards, and to pretend these movies don't exist. Even monsters can make great art sometimes, and even good people can make terrible art, so we're gonna find out what kind of movies win Oscars together. It's gonna take a while to examine them all. A lot of movies have already won Oscars, and it's not like they're stopping doing ceremonies while I'm doing my podcast. So, I hope you want to come along. And with all of that in mind, I am your host, as always, Ellie McConaughey, and with me today is River Lane.
There is no later. The future's been canceled by the War Department. They're just gonna replay the past.
And Amanda.
Okay, you do not have to sound so disappointed in introducing me. God damn.
No, I'm disappointed by the Korean War. I'm always excited to have you here. You know that.
Just checking.
And we are here today to talk about MASH, the 1970 black comedy that won Best Adapted Screenplay at the 43rd Academy Awards, and that is impossible to type out its proper title in Discord formatting, I discovered.
Correct, even though,
Sorry.
And Amanda is Kim Possible.
Shout out to my mom for that. All right. Just gonna turn that off.
I mean, the asterisks were a late marketing edition. It's listed as just MASH in all caps as the proper title.
Yeah, would I be okay? I'm gonna soften this statement a little bit. Would I be incorrect to say that this is probably the most lasting cultural contribution in America of the Vietnam War, or not the Vietnam War, the Korean War?
Probably. America likes to pretend Korea didn't happen.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that, just because, like, I'm trying to think of any type of, like, media that I've consumed in the last, 32 years of my existence. And I think this might be the only one I've ever watched.
Platoon is about Korea, right?
No, Platoon, I think, is World War II.
I also didn't watch that.
It's been a long time since I saw Platoon. I know that there's an extended Platoon parody in Seinfeld that takes place in the Korean War. No, it's Nam. Platoon is Nam.
God damn it.
Everything's fucking Nam.
It's Nom all the way down.
Korea's like one of those wars that we don't like to talk about because, to quote History of the Entire World, I guess, nobody wins and then it's on pause forever.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a huge embarrassment, but it didn't really like scar a generation the way Vietnam did. For honestly, I don't actually know why. I wanted to say it was like leftover stuff from World War II. It is basically like World War II leftover shit, Korea.
Yeah. Which would make, again, number of podcasts where World War II tangentially hits.
I'm it's gonna be like all of them. I'm just gonna say it. Like we're just gonna get at the point where I'm like, yeah, this Christmas I was gonna say this Christmas movie is about World War II, but I already fucking did that.
Yeah, I believe that's called 34th Street. Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah.
Hated that movie.
Really? Surprising.
It's like my least favorite Christmas movie. It's so depressing.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know if I've thought about what my least favorite Christmas movie is. Probably A Christmas Story, but we're not talking about Christmas movies.
No.
In March?
We could talk about Christmas movies in March if I rolled one up, but no, we're talking about MASH.
We are.
Which contains none of the actors you know from MASH.
No, it does.
It does? Oh, right, the Radar.
Yes, Gary Burkhoff. Yeah.
This is where I'm gonna have to like mea culpa to the audience and to you two, although both of you already know this. I had never watched MASH the film, and I've only recently started. After I watched the film, I only recently started watching MASH the TV show. It's just been one of those like, yeah, I got to do that at some point. But I got to watch Seinfeld with a completely blank expression on my face for the 30th time.
Well, honestly, like I'd never seen it. I didn't know it was a movie. I knew about the show, but I'd never seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard like references to it in like other TV shows and stuff, but I never actually like sat down with it. So I really knew nothing about it going into this, which is probably a good thing because I probably would have really hated having to watch it if I knew it was a war movie.
I mean, meanwhile, I make complete and utter sense as a person when I tell you that TV show Hawkeye Pierce is fundamental to who I am as a person. I make way more sense that way.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
I've known about the movie's existence since at least middle school, because if you want to know more about who I am as a person, when I was in middle school, that was sort of the like kind of half start period of when I started hearing the idea of like, I think I want to, look towards like film and academics as an academic study or whatever. And so my dad gifted me his copy of Save the Cat, which has a sequel, Save the Cat Goes to the Movies, where Blake Snyder basically does the whole like, here's proof that my framework works on everything. And the original MASH movie is in it. And while I don't agree with all of his summation of his points, having now seen the film, I did read this book religiously as a middle schooler to the point where it's battered and tattered and a little destroyed because I also took it to summer camp one year. So if you want to know what kind of child I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, when I was a child, I was watching like Kim Possible.
As we got evidence of moments ago.
I mean, I was also watching Kim Possible as a child. It was just, mostly in reruns by the time I got to it.
If you want to know more about me as a child, my parents both got degrees in the classic. My dad reads ancient Greek. But more importantly, they had a big shelf full of VHS tapes that they had, and the one that I really, really loved was Yes, Prime Minister, when I was like 10. So I've always just kind of been like this.
Yeah.
Always been very cool. No, I've never seen the movie. Actually, one of my classes was like War on Film was one of the classes I took in college, and this was one of the movies that we would have like watched and talked about, and I missed that day, which is it's not like it is a war film. Like I was starting to like contradict you, but it makes me that's me oversimplifying, which is what I was about to get mad at Save the Cat for. Like, oh, every movie, okay, climax. Explain to me how climax fits into Save the Cat, author.
I mean, I can, because I got the book. I can't tell you how he tries to justify the football game.
No, not this movie. I'm saying the movie climax. Whenever someone hits me with a framework of like all stories do this, and this, I'm like, you are instantly making me want to contradict you, motherfucker. No. This movie absolutely, I can absolutely see how this would land in that. it's a little atypical for a war movie in that they don't really. I mean, like it's already kind of atypical because I feel like most war movies aren't about battlefield doctors.
No. This movie is very like it's grungy like a good war movie should be, but you can very much tell that the 70s have hit in that we no longer find glory in war and we are more just dealing with the blood, guts, and chaos type vibe.
So like one of the habits that I've noticed about American art, and this is, to be clear, a habit of American art that a lot of people have kind of talked shit about, rightfully so, which is America's gonna bomb your country, and then 10 years later, they're gonna come back and make movies about how bombing their country made their soldiers sad.
That's just the quintessential American experience.
Yeah, yeah, but like another habit America really does is we are extraordinarily fond about making movies about a war 10 years after the war to comment on the war that we're currently doing. I'm thinking about Jarhead here in particular, since that Dan Olsen video came out a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
which is a movie about the Gulf War, but is thematically kind of about the second invasion of Iraq. So look look forward in about 8 months to a bunch of movies about
Yikes.
Operation Iraqi Freedom that is actually about what the fuck we're doing in Iran right now.
Yikes.
Yep. Yeah, that's the long and the short.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of as you were saying that. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what comes out in 10 years based on what's going on today. Never been more grateful to not be American.
Can I come over there? Can I come to Canada? I don't take up a lot of room.
I have a whole entire basement that has nothing in it. You're good.
Yay! Not that Canada is without sin.
Yeah.
No, it is only a war crime if you get caught. And it's only a war crime after the first time.
No, like Canada exists in the same bucket that unfortunately a lot of Europe does, which is it's only a war crime if it's worse than something America did.
Yeah, we are the U.S., but with a better PR department.
Yeah, but no. I'm making a point here. So like this movie is literally about Korea. It is thematically very much about Vietnam.
Yes.
And in that, it's kind of like, honestly, I'm gonna make the Jarhead comparison a lot. It actually reminds me a lot of Jarhead.
I have not seen Jarhead, so I cannot speak to
Yeah,
that.
me neither. Honestly, every time, like, I think I know movies, like, I'm pretty well versed in movies, and then I talk to you, Ellie, and I'm like, oh, I know nothing. I've seen 0 movies. I know 0 references.
I'm not gonna lie to you. My expertise comes from the fact that I just fucking watch a lot of movies. Like that's the only don't never, both to you two and the audience, never take me seriously. Always double check that I know what I'm fucking talking about. I'm an idiot. No, like the specific like the boredom and repetitiveness of war is just a major theme of both movies. Like this movie is literally about a bunch of dudes fucking around in between having to perform battlefield surgery.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of war movies would follow that theme because, like, there isn't really much to address, I guess, other than, the fighting. And you can't have a movie that's like 2 hours long with just nonstop fighting. So you got to have stuff in between. And you kind of end up with that, like, theme of, like, okay, it's fighting. And then it's, the mundane day to day boredom, right? And it's what they do with that in between space that kind of differentiates it from other war movies. Because in my opinion, they're all pretty much the same. They all follow the similar themes. They're very, similar like plot points, and it doesn't really. I lost my train of thought, but point is,
No, the ADHD trio is logged on.
My computer had a pop up, and it was like, "Do you want to update?" And I was like, "What?"
See, that's what I'm saying. The ADHD trio has logged on. We're all We're all kind of like
As
that.
you said the last time I was here, they put ADHD where my brain is supposed to be.
Same.
But I just feel like they're just so similar. And I think that's why I don't tend to enjoy war movies so much, because there isn't all that much that's different from one to the next.
So like the distinction I draw is like the interesting exception is if you take World War II war movies. World War II movies tend to be a lot more like, this is important, what we are doing. This is, maybe this is boring and horrifying and destructive, but it is an important thing, a war that needs to be fought. Whereas movies about most other modern wars, which is to say World War One and America's various misadventures in Asia.
Police actions?
Yeah, I'm aware that legally speaking, Korea, Vietnam, both Iraq wars and Afghanistan are not wars. I'm not indulging that. They're wars. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. List of international laws where they're like, but America gets to ignore them because they're special.
I was like, what's going on in your brain right now? That was a lot of fuck offs all in one sentence.
Yeah, I do that. No. My point is that they always end up at this point where like they end at that point where war is kind of pointless and boring, and it destroys you for not any particularly good reason. I keep referencing Jarhead because that's on my mind, because like this guy spends the entire movie being told like, you are nothing without your gun, and then he never fucking shoots the thing. So like this feels a little bit like that. It is a war movie in which you never see the war, which the war is happening elsewhere, but the casualties wind up in the main character's laps.
Yeah. And I think the other key thing is, the I don't know how a man like you ended up in, the US Medical Army Corps, and the priest popping in with like, oh, he got drafted. And I think that like the sense of like, none of these guys want to fucking be here. And like their doctors, Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. And now they're just stuck in a war zone where they are slowly but surely going insane, and they can't really go home because the army cannot replace doctors fast enough, which I think is like, because I'm going to be the show person on this, unfortunately, because I, again, embedded into my brain, I have made a 70s slide PowerPoint about why you should all fucking watch it. It's not actually 70 slides, it's like 35 or something. Anyway.
River, I love you.
The last time I presented it, it took me an hour. Point is that, like, I think that's the thing that, like, gets really hammered home in the show, to the point where they have a whole episode about, like, yeah, they up the points needed to go home. Sorry, Hawkeye, you don't get to go home, actually. And there's this really funny, like, or not funny, but this really poignant Tumblr post that's like, yeah, when you watch it in syndicated reruns, you never get to watch Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen. You just go back to the beginning. And so they always end up in this Sisyphean loop of reruns. And so, like, I think for me, I understand, like, I think I made the note, and my Letterboxd review points this out. I can see the strands of DNA of where the show writers are like, okay, I think we've got something here. Like, we can tug at this and make it, a whole new thing. But I also understand why every creator refuses to talk to one another about the other entities in the room,
Well, because like based on my understanding of like what the show is, and from like the movie we watched, like they're like the tone is so different that they're two completely separate entities. Like they might be like kind of like inspired by each other, but like from my understanding, like the show is a lot more like emotionally, like has more depth to it, I guess. Which I would hope so. It went on for 11 seasons, you know?
Yeah. The show basically, it is much more emotionally in depth. It's also way more liberal, or like liberal for the 70s than the book is. That's why the author hates it.
I like that you added for the 70s.
Well, okay, so Klinger's running around in drag, and all the characters we like are like, that's fine, dude. Perfectly understandable reaction. But the reason he's wearing drag is because he's trying to get out on a Section 8, which would say that homosexuality is craziness. So, like, we are still the 70s doing the 50s. We can only do so much.
Yeah, right.
Amanda, if I ever get drafted, I'm counting on you to get me out of this.
I got you.
But like the show also, it gets to be this depressing, but it's not going to get this depressing until like seasons 9 and 10, where Hawkeye is basically having an ongoing breakdown, but he can't let anybody in on that because he's supposed to be the one holding everyone else together. And if he breaks down, the whole outfit's gone. So it just takes him a while to get there, which I feel like is sort of the thing about this movie, is that it introduces us. It because it has no true clear sense of time, which I get, it's a movie, it can only do so much. The jump from Hawkeye showing up to Hawkeye leaving at the end of the movie makes no fucking sense, sort of deal. And it sort of like cheapens the depression of which we have just gone through. Cause I'm like, hey man, you're going home. That's not nothing. You know, you got rotated out. Congrats. And, you know, something, the meditation on how you can disrupt it for a period of time, but you cannot break the machine and what have you. But I don't know, man. I feel like it's kind of weird. It's just kind of weird. And that's even before you get to the fucking football climax.
But, like, oh my god, my brain today is not firing on any cylinders whatsoever. Carry on, Ellie. I'm sorry.
I mean, there's just, I was simply going to say that there's also just the fact that I feel like the director of this movie was Robert Altman, who was
a lot.
I want to say idiosyncratic. The actual thing to say is inconsistent. Incredibly prolific director. Big swings all the time, big misses all the time. Shout out to Deranged movie starring Robin Williams, Popeye, and a mere 3 years earlier, one of my absolute favorites, Three Women. Seriously, go see that movie. Extremely good Shelley Duvall in there. Whereas, like, Larry Gelbart, the guy who was the showrunner on the TV show, his most famous other product is A Funny Thing Happened on the way to the Forum. Like, they are very different artists. And you can even already, like, I've only watched the first handful of episodes, and like the way Alan Alda plays Hawkeye is so different from the way, come on brain, turn on, Donald Sutherland plays Hawkeye. They are fundamentally playing different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, just like I said, they just feel like two completely separate entities. And honestly, I thought the movie came out after the show when we first kind of pulled this, and I realized there was a movie, because I just kind of, I guess I assumed without looking into it that it's a lot like, you know, a lot of those shows that the show goes on for so long, then people are like, we want more. So they kind of come back with like a kind of crappy movie to like wrap it up. And I found out that the show was actually inspired by the movie, and I was very surprised by that. So I feel like that doesn't happen too often.
It doesn't happen super often nowadays for a lot of reasons, mostly based on, how do I put this?
Money?
I mean, money is a big element of it. The way rights are owned is another one. The way television is made is another one. Like, and the movies that have gotten TV shows will surprise you. I am going to remind everyone at every opportunity that R-rated, ultra-violent movies such as The Toxic Avenger and RoboCop got fucking kids animated shows in the 80s.
No way we're talking about RoboCop again, Ellie. Come on.
10 Things I Hate About You had a one-season wonder sitcom on ABC.
Exactly.
It had a show?
Yeah.
What?
It is bad.
Yeah, it is not very related.
Well, I would expect it to be, yes.
And honestly, you're right that like movie adaptations of TV shows very rarely are like the kind of movies that win Oscars. Do not at me about The Fugitive. Everyone in the comments, I'm aware of The Fugitive, but no one's heard of that TV show. That TV show basically doesn't exist anymore. It's just the movie The Fugitive. Maybe there was a TV show at some point.
I'm honestly trying to think of like TV shows / movies or whatever. And the only thing I can really think of is the Entourage movie, the Hannah Montana movie.
Oscar-winning film, the Hannah Montana movie.
Yeah, that's the one.
the best original song for a hoedown throat.
You know what? That's an iconic song, and I will not accept any slander. Thank you.
I'm walking into the sound because now I have that song in my head again.
Again?
I'm gonna just start quoting the lyrics to you like sporadically throughout the next week.
You see the things I put up with from her, everyone. You see what she puts me through. Christ.
Just out of context lyrics, you know.
Acceptable. No, I've totally lost my train of thought. River, talk about the TV show or something. I don't know.
Sure. If nothing else, I now fully understand why the pilot of the television show is like that. It was basically the writers going, all right, clean slate everything from the movie. We are doing our own thing. Which is why I joke that the true pilot for like what this show is going to do is actually its 4th episode, Chief Surgeon Who. Because I feel like that is actually a good establishment of what the show was going to do going forward, rather than like having to clean slate the movie. I was surprised how little Frank was in it. Because like Frank is the oxymoron character, the absolute insane being, ferret face Frank Burns. He makes no sense. He makes complete sense. He drives me bug nuts. I want to punch him into the sun. He's so miserable. Like, I feel like if he were 2% less annoying, Tumblr would turn him into a sopping wet cat. However, he's a conservative and annoying, so we can't do that. And I like walked into this movie and I was like, okay, cool. Robert Duvall is Frank. That's cool. I know Robert Duvall best from Newsies because I am who I am as a person.
River.
Yes.
You are as God made you.
You know, depending on how you look at that, that could be a compliment, and it could also not very much be a compliment at all.
It is a compliment for I love how you are, but you are as God made you, and that's all I can say. And I don't believe in God, so whatever.
Yeah, and so like you introduce Frank, and then he's hauled off like before the beginning, at like before the end of the first act or something. And I'm like, huh, okay, weird. I mean, that is also how he goes out in the show, but anyway.
Well, that was the thought that I had, that I was like, that was kind of like kicking around in my brain as I watched the movie, which is like, I actually very much understand how this movie wound up being a sitcom, because in the watching of it, it's basically sitcom plot plays out. They have to sew up some soldiers coming back from the battlefield. Sitcom plot plays. They bounce. They just do a sitcom plot, and then they do a scene of them in surgery. It's like,
Yeah, it's very episodic for a movie. Like you really feel like the parts happening.
It is. It is. It very much feels like they're. And I'm starting. And I feel like that's the point. I mean, it has to have a point. It won an Oscar.
Well, does it?
No. But the Oscars like it when you have a point. Although 70s is when movies got a little weird with it.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we established that the Oscars and just awards in general had a very different expectation for what good movies are back then versus now.
Well, I think the other thing is, like, it wins for Best Adapted Screenplay, yet the writer has gone on record and been like, nothing in my script made it onto the fucking screen, because Robert Altman had everyone just ad-libbing shit. So,
Yeah.
it won for Best Adapted Screenplay, but there's nothing, but the script is not there, so it's this weird conundrum. Robert Altman makes a percentage of the profit, yet it will never be as much as his 14-year-old son who wrote the theme song. It is weird hearing that song with words, by the way. And because he gets all the residuals from it being used in the rebroadcasts of the OG show, he's made like $2 million or something,
I was actually extremely surprised that the theme song is like plot relevant.
Yeah.
Because the anesthesiologist with a big dick wants to kill himself because he thinks he's gay.
Yeah.
Because
I also straight up thought that the famous, like, pretending to be the Last Supper shot was the end of the movie, but it's just the midpoint.
Mm-hmm. It's not like they've still got a solid chunk of movie left at that point.
And it's just like, well, this happened, moving on.
This movie is before Young Frank. No, this is after Young Frankenstein, isn't it? I'm trying to figure out who stole whose joke with the lady being getting fucked out because the dude has a huge dick.
Young Frankenstein is 74. It stole it.
This is a sarcastic comment, everyone. I know big dick jokes have existed since
Yeah.
ancient Sumeria.
I'm not gonna lie, I was about to be really impressed that you were able to trace back the origins of those types of jokes. And I was like, God damn it, Ellie. Did you do anything other than watch movies that nobody's heard of?
No, I also occasionally watch movies that people have heard of. Only occasionally.
Real.
Yeah, but that's a less frequent occurrence.
She's so mean to me. You're so mean to me.
Am I?
No.
Pretend you're not into it.
Shut the fuck up!
Damn, that was a read if I've ever heard one.
Alright, I'm walking into Long Island Sound. Goodbye, everyone.
You can't kill yourself. It's Out of Touch Thursday.
Okay, we're done bullying Ellie for right now.
For right now.
I like that you added for right now.
Well, yes, I'm not naive. No, like, more sincerely, like, the 70s were when even the Oscars, which are, they may be movies that no one has heard of, but I don't think anyone who is really into movies would consider the Oscar winners like a how do I put this? That out there as far as films go. But like the 70s were when they started to get a little weird with it, you know.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge. They're getting a little weird with it occasionally nowadays, but not as much as they need to. Get weirder with it. Nominate Jane Schoenbrunn for Best Director. Do it, Oscars. I'm watching you.
You're just pleading to an uncaring universe.
I know.
Yeah, my note is, I think if you like women being treated well, the show is better. If you've got an affinity for 70s filmmaking, the movie's better.
Neither of them are great about women, TBH.
I was gonna say, like, that...
TV show gets slightly better about women, it just takes them a couple of seasons.
Does it take them a couple of seasons because, like, it's a product of its time? Or did they realize, like, maybe we should be nicer to women?
So season 4 is when they do a whole guard change because Wayne Rogers wanted out and McLean Stevenson wanted out, and so they do the guard change, and that's where you get the joke that Family Guy like put back into the public consciousness, where it's, you know, the helicopter spun out of the Sea of Japan, there was no survivors. Spoilers for a fucking 40-year-old show.
Yeah.
But so when they do the guard changeover, they basically say, okay, we can cut back basically everyone's philandering by simply having the two newcomers respect their wives.
Wow.
So BJ's married and has a daughter back home, and he like loves his wife, and the one time he like not accidentally, he kind of steps out sort of ish. He gets real twisted up about it. It's a whole fucking deal, and Hawkeye was like, tell her in person, not in a letter, you dipshit! Like, just don't tell her now, save it until all of this is done. Hawkeye in the show is also a bachelor, they just make him single. Do with that information what you will. There is a reason that my icon is a Hawkeye over a bisexual flag.
Okay.
And the new dude, it's so weird. It's so fun. And then
I didn't say anything.
And then Harry Morgan's character, Sherman Potter, he's got like grandkids. He has been happily married to his wife since they met. They like that, like literally they do that, and that is enough to get most of the philandering off the field. And then when Frank leaves, Margaret is allowed to become her own character and allowed to like step out of the like Frank Burns shell that she has been crafted into, and in doing so, to borrow a line from Lady Night the Brave's review of MASH, she is allowed to grow into her heart. So yeah, it just takes, but like, remember when shows were allowed to have growing pains?
Yeah.
Remember when they were allowed to like realize what worked and what didn't work from season to season?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when they got more than 8 episodes of television?
No, now the whole shtick is you get a single 7-episode season, and if you're really good, you get a single more 6-episode season. And then if you're really bad, like you're one of the worst shows ever, you get 5 seasons of increasing budget.
Yeah.
So are we talking about Riverdale or?
I am. You know what? I'm gonna not say any title here. You audience, fill in what show I am slamming there. There are so many.
Yeah, that honestly, like that was so broad that it could cover a lot of bases.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
I mean, it definitely felt like a product of its time watching it. Like I felt very icky at times, and I had to remind myself that this was made in the 70s, and that is probably why some of the things have not aged particularly gracefully.
Yeah, I did this wild swing back and forth because again, I was like on the one hand I'm like, okay, early season Hawkeye and Trapper would probably do this maybe, but if they had like a rated R level instead of the TV level they had, and then I was like, okay, but that doesn't, that doesn't make it great still, and then I was like would swing back around to like, okay, but also Margaret's kind of a piece of shit, and then she gets bimboified for no real reason. And I saw one letterbox reviewer was like, I don't know why I give this movie more grace than Animal House. And I'm like, that's it. That's where I have problems with it. Because I can't stand Animal House. My parents made me watch Animal House when I was able to like think and have emotions about things in my own opinion. And I remember watching Animal House and gritting my teeth being like, what the fuck? The fuck? Why are my parents making me watch this? What is going on?
Maybe they just like watching Donald Sutherland be a piece of shit.
And then we got to the end of I got to the end of the Animal House, and they're doing that whole like car chase crash thing, and John Blandis' absolute insane ending. And then I get to the football game in this, and I'm like, oh, there's a level of absurd that I vibe with the same way I vibe with the absolute insanity at the end of Animal House. Not enough to forgive it for the everything else that happened, but it's just enough to trick you into being like, okay, maybe I am in this movie's rhythm.
So the apologetic reaction I would have, and this is, I admit, me doing a lot of yoga to give this movie some grace, is like you could argue as a lot that they are doing the thing that a lot of films do, which is to say the inhumanity that these soldiers have been subjected to and forced to participate in is being translated into inhumanity towards other people in their lives. The actual answer is that it was the 70s and movies are just kind of shitty about women.
Yeah,
A lot.
yeah, I also, I made the comment of there's sort of the pressure, like the pressure for every juvenile pressure release valve, there is like smack cut reminder, by the way, they're doing meatball surgery and everyone's covered in blood.
Yeah.
Meatball surgery.
That's what they call it.
I know, it's just the expression makes me giggle.
That's what I call it when my sub falls apart and I have to like put it back together so I can eat it again. Bam.
That's the sub you were going with. Okay.
I was, you know what? That's not where my brain went. My brain didn't go sandwich, so I was really confused.
Shush both of you. This is my podcast. I am in charge here.
Lie again!
I am in charge here, she says, as she repeatedly gets bullied.
No one other than you, no guest other than you gets away with this, man. I want you to know that. Yeah, it's literally just, like, there is an element where I feel like a lot of it is just sort of commenting that these people are juvenile and kind of losing their minds and just acting out, but it is just kind of broadly shitty about women. Which is not like, it's not great.
It's not.
I have indicated in the past, and I will no doubt indicate it again, that if we like if we examine all four of the main podcasts that we're all like appearing back and forth on, I feel like I cover the widest time period regularly. We just did a movie from the 50s. Our next movie is like from this. We have another movie coming out from like the 30s. I do that a lot, and a lot of the time you do just sort of have to go like, okay, you can be shitty about women, or am I getting blackface? Let's go.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if you're really lucky,
you get both.
It's both.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's definitely one of those, like, you kind of have to get yourself in that right mindset because it's extremely jarring when you're not mentally prepared for it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't necessarily watch older movies anymore like I did when I was in college because I studied film. So a lot of, my older film knowledge comes from that. And since then, I haven't really engaged much with it. So every time I come on, like I come here and I have to watch one of these older movies, I have to like put myself in that like brain space where it's like, okay, this is not going to be what you're used to. That's okay. It's not going to age the way anybody wanted it to. That's also okay. Just got to say like positive as best as possible. Because if not, the whole time I'm just going to be pausing to rage every 5 minutes. And that's just not very effective.
And also, we're talking about a comedy which has the tendency to age like milk the fastest.
100%.
Especially a black comedy about war.
Yup.
I will say, one part of me is just sort of like aging into dust that you're referring to Beetlejuice as like an old movie. It's not even that it's wrong, it's that my back hurts.
I mean,
Well, Beetlejuice is an older movie.
I know. Don't fucking say that.
I mean, put it this way, I wasn't alive when it came out, so
I
like,
also wasn't alive.
in my head, that's an old movie.
I also wasn't alive when it came out.
Well, there you go. Why does it make you feel old?
The point is my back hurts.
Listen.
Second, I'll try to do better. Like, I'll drag you on for a Nora or something.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I do sign up for these.
You do.
It's like you kind of say the movie, and I'm like, I think I've maybe heard of this. I'm down. Like that's as far as like the thought process goes. Like I don't do any research whatsoever before agreeing, and that's more on me than it is on you. I'm gonna be honest.
I honestly don't do a lot of like when I roll up the episode, I look it up the movie, but I kind of like I want to be a little bit surprised if I've never seen a movie. I've had MASH on my I need to see this list. Christ, for 15 years. So glad I got it off, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And how did you feel about it?
I liked it. I there's stuff in there that I'm sure Robert Altman, God rest his soul. Wait, did I just God rest a live man? He's got to be dead. Yeah, he died. Wow, he died 20 years ago.
I was gonna say, I feel like almost everyone in this movie is dead.
Pour one out for a real one. Is he ever popping up? I'm looking at his filmography. Is he ever popping up here again? Oh, Gosford Park. That won an Oscar, right? Yeah, I like Gosford Park. We'll get to it when we get to it. It's more. I think it has more. I think it has more going on than it like appears on the surface.
Oh yeah. I track what anti-establishment it's doing when it chooses to do anti-establishment and when it chooses to say, no, the Army's bureaucracy is kind of bullshit and it's getting in the way of doing a lot of important shit. But I think I'm aided in the fact of having, watched the show and watched them go way more blatant with that. Like, they have had multiple episodes about dealing with the Army paperwork about the mixed-race kids. There are multiple episodes where they just tear a general a new one because he's not listening to them. And like the whole thing about like, Blake, you can't let these two idiots run your outfit. Yes, he can. Watch. Because Blake doesn't want to be in charge. That's why Radar does all the work.
I was very amused by the running gag where like he goes to ask Radar for something and Radar has already done it.
Yeah.
It's a good quick establishing of Radar's character. I also got very amused by like the punchline at the end of the movie where they've been like introducing movies and describing them the entire time, and then they just describe the movie you just watched. I'm like, oh, that's pretty fun. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not made of stone. I mentioned in your episode that I was just on that like the joke that got me the best was and now we're doing a montage set to time after time. Then they do a montage set to time after time. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Lean on that fourth wall.
Yeah. And also, I need a DM at some point who has seen MASH to understand what I mean when I say I want to play a Warlock where the Warlock patron dynamic is just Blake and Radar, but the Warlock is Radar. So like all of the other like warlocks that this patron has go to like the player character warlock to get things out of the patron.
River, I love you.
I'm always in support of people trolling with their D&D characters, so I'm all for it.
I love non-traditional warlock dynamics. It's important to me.
I can confirm. We're not talking about D&D.
Alas.
It seems like we might be a little bit.
We might be a little bit. I would like to, at some point, go listen to all of my episodes and put a countdown timer for how long it takes each episode for us to get off topic. I guarantee you it's no more than 6 minutes each.
Yeah.
I'm such a statistics nerd that I would love to see like the percentage of time spent discussing the actual movie meant to be discussed. and then kind of look at that on like a chart and see like, you know, how frequently in terms of like the amount of episodes you have, and like just kind of pie chart it.
Man, do I have to woo you now?
in, my, in my brain, I'm seeing it and I'm just really describing it poorly. My brain fog is so bad today because I took my meds 3 hours later than I'm supposed to.
No, I 100% know what you're going for, and I'm wooing you. I am riding. I'm riding in the tournament with your favor. Let's do it.
Listen, you don't see it, but I'm doing like hand signals too to like demonstrate what I'm talking about.
Should we talk about the football game? That absolute right field of a climax?
It's such a weird climax. Okay, so I know less than nothing about American football. I have watched one Super Bowl in my life. A fact that much like several other things that I've not seen more of, gets funnier the older I get.
I mean, I technically watched the most recent Super Bowl, but I could not tell you who played other than Bad Bunny.
Yep.
And I don't think that's technically sports. So
Yeah, I mean, like I usually watch the halftime show. I'll tune in to watch Kendrick Lamar call Drake a pedophile on live TV.
Who wouldn't?
bro.
But I'm like 90% certain that move they pull at the end of the game is some kind of against the rules.
I mean, yes. But also consider that entire, like, last 10 minutes is a Looney Tunes bit.
It is.
Where they just start brawling and trying to kill each other, that's a Looney Tunes bit. We're just in Looney Tunes now.
In my humble opinion, Looney Tunes bits belong only in Looney Tunes and not in war movies.
When I say that it came out of right field, you know, the standard idiom would be it came out of left field. But there is, I don't want to call it foreshadowing because, again, I feel like this decision was made, maybe not on the day of, but like 3 days before, where they're like, shit, we need a climax. But they do state that Trapper and Hawkeye played football in college. So it is semi-established, but also, like, that was 40 minutes ago, movie. You've bled a lot of people since then. You've had at least 2 women's tits in my face.
Also, not for nothing, like, they could have shot the football scene, and then someone slaps their forehead and goes, fuck, we should establish they played football.
Yeah. We should pretend they're, like, actually stand a chance of being okay.
Like, as an afterthought, they're like, oh, we should mention that they play.
Yeah.
Earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, just slam it in there. Who gives a fuck?
Just put a single line that nobody's going to remember. Let's do it.
There's a recurring sketch on Monty Python, which started running the year before this one, in case you wanted to know if this was like a piece of art in communication with this one, where like they would always spend like a minute introducing this historical society and how they're about to do a reenactment of a famous battle.
And they would just run into each other.
Yeah, then they would do just like sped up footage of ladies smacking each other in a muddy field with handbags.
Yeah.
That's honestly what it made me think of, and that's kind of what I feel like the point is, if I'm willing to concede it has a point. Like, here is this thing we're doing with all of these rules and all of these important all this stuff that we're taking really seriously. Note how similar it is to us brawling in the mud like children.
Yes. Note how it is a microcosm of the war. Note how it is a better shot than the rest of the movie because it wasn't directed by the director. Note how it is deeply fucking silly and that you were allowed to bring in a ringer at the last minute. Note how people are betting on it. This ends my sentence.
Yeah, it's honestly like that. Like, I went and looked it up because it's one of my favorite lines from Kill 6 Billion Demon. You know, behold the awesome fires of God, the limitless powers of pure creation itself. Observed how it is used for the same purpose a man might use an especially sharp rock. You know, it is just like the pretensions of all this bullshit stripped away. Here's what you're actually fucking doing. There are no rules, and then they leave.
Yeah.
Then they get their discharge paperwork and they go home.
Yeah. Which, you know, Jesus. I don't know. Also, another thing the show does well, conservation of character. Jesus Christ, I'm having trouble keeping track of white men again.
Is this like a recurring problem for you, River?
Only sometimes. There are some times where, like, okay, like, here's the thing, right? You say conservation of character, keeping track of white men. I look at Newsies, I can tell all of them apart. I can tell you which ones the fans have named because they're never officially named on screen.
River, you should tell a therapist that.
I have. She thinks I have a photographic memory and is wondering why the hell I can store so much information in my goddamn brain.
In River's defense, I do agree. They look, a lot of them look very similar, and I personally had a hard time knowing who was who.
And a lot with the 70s lighting, they're introduced in the dark. Like that scene in the mess tent where they're all overlapping and introducing one another. I'm like, okay, it is so dark, I can't tell who's who, what is happening. Altman, I'll kill you.
Okay. I did not have any trouble telling them apart. Maybe that's because I know Donald Sutherland really well, but also like Elliot Gould is sporting, let's be real, an extremely impressive mustache.
It is a very impressive. Like I could tell, like Elliot, I could tell like Hawkeye and Trapper apart. That I wasn't worried about. Every other minor character that wasn't, Houlihan and Radar and Robert Duvall, I was just like, who the fuck are any of these people? It took me like 90% of the movie to realize that Dago Red was the priest because it's a fucking prohibition joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took me until like halfway through the movie, and then I was like, oh, that's why the priest in the pilot episode is a redhead, and then they switched to with William Christopher, who is an infinitely better priest. Got it!
I felt like I was watching an episode of The Bachelor where there was like 7 of the same guy. And I didn't know who was who. So I'm glad that wasn't just like a me thing, because like I just assume it's ADHD whenever like I can't tell anyone apart, and I'm just like, this is just the same white dude copy pasted 75 times.
The Bachelor's wooing dudes now? Good for him.
Well, Bachelorette.
Okay.
But, Bachelor franchise, like that TV, like, the Midwest, very Catholic genre.
Mormon, please.
I've never. I'm gonna be 100% real with you, Amanda. The only thing I know about The Bachelor or The Bachelorette is that a contestant on one season, if you put a gun to my head, I could not tell you what season, is getting married to Haley Kiyoko.
Yes.
You haven't seen Unreal?
Oh my god, dude. Okay, wait, but that's like actually a good season. Becca is a phenomenal bachelorette. We love her, and I love that she broke out of her bachelor mold, and I'm obsessed with her. 10 out of 10. Good reference.
Thank you.
But I will show you after this some pictures of like the most recent contestants, and you can tell me if you think they are different people.
I presume, based on what I know about The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, that they have a lab somewhere.
Yeah.
Where they like
It's in Utah.
It's in Utah. I presume it kind of looks like that one scene of Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
We have 10,000 new Bachelorette contestants ready for deployment, with 50,000 more on the way.
Yeah.
It's very much like, the mold of a very specific type of person comes on this show, and that is what you see repeated throughout literally every single season.
And then they ship him directly to the Hallmark Channel when they're done. Yes.
No, first they do a lot of online influencing and trying to sell stuff and going on podcasts, and then they sell out.
What kind of loser would go on a podcast?
Speaking of,
we are so far off topic. River, talk about MASH.
My bad.
No, we all participated in that one.
No, it's fine. No, okay. What else can I talk about?
I actually, so I did want to check with you. Hojan is not really in the show very much, right?
No, he leaves after the pilot.
Okay, he leaves, and I was like, is this like a fake out? Is he going to be back the next episode?
No.
I didn't see him in the next 2 episodes that I watched.
There is a reference to him in the later seasons because he's going to the Americas to study agriculture, so he ends up with Radar's family for a time period. And I believe there's a reference after Radar goes home that he and Radar are now working on their family farm, or like Radar's family farm, after his uncle passes. So like I think he pops up like one other time, but it's an in-name only, like off-screen reference.
I really quite liked the sequence where they're like taking Hojan to like see a doctor to see if they can draft him, and they've given him speed to try to keep him from getting drafted. Like, that's a nice bleak little joke.
Yeah.
These drafted guys are like, please don't draft this literal child. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, they all tried to dodge and they were unsuccessful, and that's truly their tragedy. I miss like my thing about this movie is Klinger would tonally clash with this movie, but as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, damn, where's Jamie Farr? I need Klinger. I need Klinger to strut around in a silly little dress.
Honestly, like, my favorite moments of the movie are just those kind of bleak little jokes. Like the beat where they're in the operating theater and the lights go out, and none of them are like freaking out or panicking. It's like, oh man,
Yeah,
come on.
not again. Oh, lads, not again.
That's the sort of shit that makes me understand. I mean, like, I don't understand why this movie won Best Adapted Screenplay. You didn't need to tell me that this movie was heavily improv. It tastes like improv. I don't mean that as an insult. Improv is a proud tradition, but like,
It definitely sounded like an insult the way you said it.
uh, I have an aversion to improv because it's kind of like ruined a lot of modern comedy. The what's the name of the fucker? The 40-year-old virgin guy. What is the name of the director?
Judd Apatow?
Michael Scott.
Judd Apatow. That's the guy. But yes, also Michael Scott. No, that's not the name of the actor.
I know, I can't remember. I can't remember his name.
Steve Carell.
The Office.
Judd Apatow, as best I can tell from outside, and if this is inaccurate, Judd Apatow, please contact me so I can tell you to never speak to me again. Is he shoots approximately 8 million feet of footage and just sort of edits together the best bits, which has led to some very boring movies in my opinion. So I often end up kind of like reflexively dismissive of improv. But no, a lot of very good movies are very heavily improv. But you often tell when they've been very heavily improv, and this feels very heavily improv.
I mean, I don't have a problem with improv necessarily, but like, how can you be winning for screenplay when the screenplay was not followed? Because at that point, it's just, like, it's the general, like, roughly story, because I'm assuming it was based on a book.
So yes, it was based on a book. The book is bad. No one likes the book. The director didn't like the book. No one likes the book. It is so much more conservative than this movie and also the show. Jesus Christ, don't read the book.
So, absolutely crazy question. Why did we turn it into a movie if we hate the book so much?
They just kind of did that in the 70s.
They just kind of did that for the vibes.
You ever read the book The Godfather is based on? Fucking sucks.
I mean, to be fair, I'm outing myself so bad here, but the 50 Shades books were fucking horrendous.
Yes.
And they still turned those into movies. So I get it, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As for why this won Best Adapted Screenplay, I'm not going to lie to you. Airport got an Oscar nomination this year for screenplay, as did Love Story. So, like, I don't know, man.
Slim pickings?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Okay, but I feel like it's always slim pickings when we look back at old movies.
This is also, but on the other hand, this is also the same year that Ken Russell, Absolute Real One, got an Oscar nomination. So, ups and downs, peaks and valleys.
Ups and downs, peaks and valleys.
I just outed myself. I mean, I don't feel like given all you know about me, am really shocking anyone when I tell them I really hate Love Story. Extremely excited to talk about it one day.
Okay, I will take your word for it.
Did it actually win anything?
It won score, I want to say. Yes. Yeah.
I feel like score is probably one that I would be less judgmental as far as, like, why they won. Because, like, how do you fuck up a soundtrack?
Carefully.
I mean, easily. But, like, if you won for soundtrack, like, I would assume it's because you, like...
Did you sneeze?
I lost my thought. So my brain is malfunctioning today. I'm so sorry.
You're so fine. I'm also a bit machine. It makes up for the fact that Ellie can't be a bit machine because she's trying to impress you. Anyway.
Hey! Don't say true things like they're insults.
Ellie really just out here getting bullied heavily.
but I also support, like, because I read the Letterboxd reviews and they do tonally swing wildly. But one of the Letterboxd reviews I saw was like someone called it, this is a hangout movie where you wouldn't want to hang out with anybody.
Oh.
And I don't disagree with that.
I thought when they said that, it's more like this is one of those movies that you put on while you're doing something else and then completely forget you were watching a movie because you get focused on the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie ends and you're like, oh, wow, that was a movie.
I'm, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I mean by it has a very episodic structure. I referenced Christmas Story a bit ago, and like that's another movie where like you basically put it on in the background and you miss 80% of it, and then you go, "Oh, hey, this is the best part," and then you watch that part, and that's it.
Yeah, real.
Anyway, I guess my point about Airport and Love Story, both of which won stuff, but Airport won Best Supporting Actress. What are we doing here?
Who was it?
Helen Hayes for Airport. My point was going to be that like this particular Oscars were weird. They were weird.
A fever dream.
There was a lot of stuff happening in the culture in 1970. Woodstock was the best documentary, and Interviews with My Alive Veterans was the best short documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff was happening. Shout out Best Foreign Language Film winner, Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion. Very, very highly recommended. I am not beating the allegation that I spend all my time watching movies no one's ever heard of. Okay.
I feel like I might have heard of that one, but it was on a Cinefix list for something. I don't remember.
It's real good.
Is that the one that is like lightly about Greece without being about Greece?
No, that's Z.
Okay.
Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion is about a cop who murders his mistress, and because he's a cop, they basically can't investigate him properly.
I also love that you knew immediately what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's great is ever since I made that comment about you watching movies that nobody's ever heard of, you've mentioned probably about a dozen since I said that.
Listen, Panda, I say this is all the love in the world for you, and also awareness of who I am as a person. I do this all the time. River, do I do this all the time?
Correct.
Yeah, this is just who I am.
It's like how you can put a coin in me, and inevitably you'll get a rambling about some intricacies of lore that you didn't even know a franchise had.
Precisely.
I'm the same way about like, but I feel like it's like different genres.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the Bluetooth brain, but we aren't identical.
Yeah.
But my point is that like this Oscars 1970 was a very big change every year. A lot of stuff was changing the culture. This was around the time when Nom started to get like when everyone was kind of like, what are we fucking doing here, man? Although they just went ahead and gave Richard Nixon another 4 years, so what do I fucking know?
Well, he'll only get 2 of them.
He'll only get 2 of them. I was chatting with my work wife today, and we were discussing Nixon, and I discovered that people think that Spiro Agnew, Nixon's first vice president, got kicked out due to Watergate. No, he got kicked out due to his own separate corruption charges.
Love that.
So that's where the culture was kind of at. That's where stuff was kind of at. A lot of...
So what I'm hearing is America's just always been on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes up and down. It's real bad right now, and 1970 it was real bad.
Remember, kids, people lived happy and fulfilling lives during the fall of the Roman Empire.
I'm just thinking, like, in, 50 years, there's going to be people on a podcast being like, wow, like, 2026 was fucking crazy. It's like, is America okay?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, America's not okay. Yeah, they're going to be doing that. But, they still gave Best Picture to Patton this year, so...
Can I argue?
That Patton is good? No.
No, I would never. No, I'm actually going to argue that that Suicide is Painless would actually make a killer Midwest emo track.
I will bring that up with people I know who play Midwest emo.
I feel like you could get a solid, like, shoegaze, indie rock, Midwest emo track out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the intros of both the movie and the show are not quite shot for shot, but pretty damn close.
Pretty close. I was like, I'm sitting there watching for the miniatures. They don't have a lot of miniature helicopters. They're just using helicopters for the most part. We used to be a real country.
We used to be a real country. We used to play golf while the helicopters landed.
Exactly. This is not an endorsement.
No. this movie, like, again, like I said, I can see the DNA, I can see the strands that got picked out, I can map the clear lines from A to B and how we got there. But again, I understand why every creator does not talk to the other ones, and they feel kind of more like cousins than direct lineage.
I mean, that's sort of what I was thinking. Like, I haven't read the book, and you have not given it anything that's gonna make me kick it to the top of my reading list. I will say that much.
No.
I'm going to say it's never made it to my reading list, and I think we're going to continue down that path.
Yeah,
Correct.
I wouldn't say that it's on my reading list, but I will say if it is as how you describe it, then you could argue that this is in the adaptational chain with, from the book to the movie to the show. I don't think you could jump straight from the book to the show without the writer of the book. I don't know, what did conservatives do when they went crazy back in the 70s?
Do drugs.
They just got really into communism. Start the KKK again.
Start another House Un-American Activities Committee? I don't know.
Start the KKK again.
Start another Nazi party. Who was that one guy that they did a Behind the Bastards episode about?
You're going to have to be way more specific.
God! They just become G. Gordon Liddy. It's fine.
So go sell gold on TV?
Yeah, I guess. Beyond Fear Factor. But no, like that. What I meant when I was saying that Frank is an absolute goddamn paradox of a character is that, like, on the one hand, yes, he is a character from the 50s, and everything out of his mouth is so completely dated to the 50s. But also, like, man, I heard a Fox News anchor make that same argument 3 days ago. And it's this circle, and like the reason that Larry Linville left the show after season 5 was he was like, there's no place for this character to go. He's become a parody of himself. Like, you can't do anything with him anymore. We have to write him out. And the writers are like, we agree. And so I feel like that kind of is symbolically, not quite the straitjacketing, but it feels sort of like spiritually similar. This idea that, like, the hypocrisy has always been there, and all you can do is try to straitjacket it out of the room with an MP. So much MP violence in this movie. The army do just be like that sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's honestly, part of me feels like Frank is the soldier the military would actually want.
Yes.
So being taken away with a straitjacket is how they usually come out of the war. So
yeah,
decent metaphor there, Robert Altman.
Also, a running joke in the show is that he's great at regular army. He's a shit surgeon, whereas Hawkeye is not regular army in the slightest. You don't want a platoon of Hawkeyes, but when someone's been shot down and you've got to patch them up, you want Hawkeye. Much to the chagrin of every top brass in the army.
Oh, hey! Speaking of House Un-American Activities Committee, the writer was blacklisted for over a decade on it because of that. So,
LMAO.
There we are.
Wait, blacklisted from what? From
working in Hollywood.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what. I don't blame you as a Canadian for not knowing about the House Un-American Activities Committee. The basic gist for our Canadian and
non-American
and also younger audience members is that the House basically decided that there were a bunch of communists in Hollywood and started dragging actors and directors and writers in to talk about it, and
went insane.
Yeah, they went insane. If they decided you were a communist, you basically couldn't work in movies for like a decade.
That
Yeah.
And then there's the Hays Code.
I don't even have sentences or words to describe the things happening inside my brain right now.
Remember, kids, we've always been like this. We've just gotten better and worse at hiding it.
If anyone ever likes to tell you that America is a fundamentally left-wing country,
fake news.
I would like to remind you, our government formed a committee to hunt down communists for existing. We let the Nazis have a rally at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Merca.
Yeah. Twice? Didn't the fascist Tangerine have one?
I meant the literal American Nazi Party, but yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to that like freedom and the speeching thing that Americans are so quite proud of?
That has always been real testy with Hollywood. Hollywood has not gotten that. They every time they have tried to exercise that right, the government will go, what the fuck? And the states or the Fed will get involved, and Hollywood has to go, back the fuck off, motherfucker. And then they drag it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, yeah, actually, they can do that. Freedom of speech and whatever.
That's really fascinating.
And then the states still do shit, and that is how we get the Hays Code.
The faster answer is, you think someone would do that? Just go in their constitution and tell lies?
America really fascinates me in like a in like not a good way necessarily.
You want to study it like an ant farm?
Yeah, pretty much. I was, that's the analogy I was gonna go for, and I was like, look at it like in a glass dome where it can't like affect anything else, and it's just kind of like on its own island by itself.
Alas, that crackden has people I care about in it. So
like in Spy Kids where he has like all those creations and they're all like in their own little space. Like that's kind of how I want to study the states without them impacting anything else in the world.
As someone who has a degree in this politics stupid shit, I too wish I could study American politics from behind heavy glass. But alas.
Alas. This movie is a time, I think is the best way to put it. I'm glad I watched it. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it.
I wouldn't even go that far. I watched it. It was a movie. Am I going to watch it again? Absolutely not. Am I going to remember anything about it in like 2 weeks? Absolutely not. And I'm okay with that.
I do feel like I liked it. Or maybe liked it isn't the term. I appreciated it.
Yeah. I respect it where it sits in the history. I am glad I have consumed it as both a fan of the show and as somebody with a cinema media studies degree. I have no desire to interact with it ever again. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go rewatch Chief Surgeon Who for the 50 billionth time.
yeah, maybe I'll do a follow-up episode when I finish with 11 seasons of MASH in approximately 1,000 years.
They're 23 minutes. It won't take you that long.
Yeah, but I have to actually sit down and do it.
Nah, fair. Or you could just hang out with me and I'll just put random episodes on.
I thought you were going to go like down the line of like, I'm just going to word vomit so much trivia at you that you're going to know exactly what happened in the show without having watched
I already have that PowerPoint. I've already done that. It took me an hour.
Well, like I was going to say, like, they already do that. Like, what do you think our friendship is? River word vomits information at me. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh my God, that's just me and you.
Exactly.
You like yap at me about stuff I don't understand, and I'm just there like, yeah.
Posted that emoji of the panda eating the popcorn.
Yeah, 100%. That's me.
I mean,
I'll just sit and spectate.
My friend and I were watching the 2004 Mechagodzilla movie, and we had to pause the movie because we got into an elaborate conversation about why Japan was making such a stringent argument about rearming itself in 2004 and what its relations were with the US at the time, and then also trying to figure out how George Bush would react to Japan having a Mechagodzilla, a haunted robot.
I think that's my favorite thing about watching movies with friends is that you start out watching the movie and it takes you like 3 times longer than it would have if you watched it by yourself because you pause it to like have the most random side conversations that like only loosely tie to what you're watching.
I think that's the premise of this podcast.
Yeah.
I think so too.
What were you going to say, Ellie?
I was going to ask, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Sure, I can plug things. Hi, you can find me on Blue Sky at Dreams Rebel. You can find me on my own website, blog.filmlion.online. You can find me at Letterboxd at punk_skeleton. And you can also find me as the host of The Straights Aren't All Right, a podcast where I gather a bunch of queer people together, make them watch straight rom-coms, and try to answer the question, are the straights like okay for the record? For those keeping score. No! Vehemently no! Not even by 50 standards. No!
I was going to say, having only listened to 1 episode so far, can confirm they are not.
Nope.
Our next both of our next eps might be out by the time this episode goes out. So check us out wherever pods are cast and on Blue Sky at Aren't All Right Podcom.
Amanda, my beloved, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
No, I don't really do things. You can probably find me here sometimes when I decide that I want to watch a movie that I've never heard of.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
As always, our host can be found on Blue Sky, Medium, and Letterboxd at LSR42, and on Tumblr at Football in Tuxedos. This podcast can be found on both YouTube and Spotify. If you liked what you heard, maybe give us a comment and tell us what you liked, or just like the video if it's on YouTube. Subscribe. Make sure you get new episodes. They come out every other Wednesday as of right now. And if you didn't like what you heard, I'm sorry. And thanks to both River and Panda for coming out. Because watching movies is painless. No, I'm not doing that.
No.
No. But for our next episode, we're getting a little weird with it because it turns out that a lot of the best documentary feature winners are like 45 minutes long. Whenever I roll up one of those, we're going to cover two of them at once with some vaguely defined theme that makes sense in my head. So for our next episode, we are covering two documentary winners. He Makes Me Feel Like Dancing and Scared Straight. Hope to see you there.
Oh, see, this is how it starts. First with the jokes, then comes the heavy stuff.